So what I'm going to do today is to go ahead and cover kind of a reversal on my thought on modifying Japanese N64 games. Now, I still stand by the fact that, the donor cartridge idea and swapping the backs is still a really good option. I just think that once you reach the point where you're getting like 5 titles or more, you really are just better off just going ahead and modifying your console or consoles. Just that way they can play as is. You don't have to worry about sourcing a donor cartridge. And the other thing that I've noticed is that, donor cartridges with good, clean, cosmetic condition backs are getting more expensive to buy. Just within the last couple of months, I've gone from being able to easily find them for, like $2.50 to $3 a pop to the point where they're like between $3.50 and $4 a pop. And that doesn't sound like that big of a cost, but when you start multiplying that by, say, 5 to 10 games, that adds up. Whereas, you can literally do, the modification to a console for very, very little cost. You can pick up a 4.5 game-bit screwdriver, which is what you're going to need to get into the N64, for as little as, around $4 shipped from eBay for a cheap set of 3/8 and 4/5 millimeter game-bit screw bits that you can put into an adjustable screwdriver. So anyways, that's really the only cost there. And then, of course, you're going to have to modify the cartridge tray in there. That's really all you need to do in order to get it to play both US and Japanese N64 games on a US or Japanese-based N64 console, just as is. You don't really have to do anything else to them because it's the same hardware. Just all they did was put that physical region lock in there between the tray and the cartridge backs. That's it. So you have several different options. Probably the one that's become the most popular. It does add a little bit of cost, but it saves a lot of hassle factor and additional tool purchases. And that is going on eBay and finding a 3D printed N64 cartridge tray, which has the tabs removed. Okay, doesn't have them put in there at all. They were designed without them. So I found some vendors, a couple of them, who will sell these in a package of 4 for less than $5 a piece. These I got for, I think, just under $4 because I really kept an eye on the fluctuating pricing and got it dirt cheap. But, as I said, you have to buy 4 or more. If you're buying them just as a single tray or maybe 1 or 2, you plan on spending roughly about $7 all in on each one. Okay? So, anyways, but yeah, the 3D printed tray is probably the easiest way to do it because that way, really, all you need is a game-bit screwdriver, a 4/5 game-bit screwdriver, and then a large size Phillips head screwdriver to remove the actual screws on the inside to pull the cartridge tray out. That's it. Those are really the only tools you need to do that job if you go the 3D printed route. Now, if you have more time than money, then modifying your existing cartridge tray is also an option. If you have a US-based N64, you're going to have these two, you won't be able to see it now because I drilled this guy out. You'll have these 2 bumps here where these holes now are, where they're just kind of little like steps or ridges that are there in these corners. And what you can see is, you can see here, this is a back of a US-based N64 console. So you've got these 2 little ridges right there, and then they just kind of come in and rest right there on those steps. And that's how it works. Now, if you try and stick a Japanese-based N64 game in there originally, because these parts are filled in and go all the way to the bottom, they're going to catch on those steps and you can't even fit it in there. But once they're gone, as you can see there, goes in just fine, no issues. Okay, so for a Japanese one, they're going to have them here in the center. And actually, this one I like a little bit better because it's easier to see. And so you can see a US one would catch right there on the two little bumps that would be there. But once again, they're gone now, so it goes right in. And then you can see here how it lines up like that. So anyways, that's really all it takes. If you do decide to go ahead and modify your a Japanese-based N64 or a US-based N64, there's a couple of different tools you can go ahead and do to modify the cartridge tray. What I actually found was my DeWalt handheld power drill with a large drill bit was actually really effective at doing the job. A lot of people like to go and buy the Dremel tools and stuff like that, but the thing is, I already had the handheld drill in my possession, whereas I didn't have a Dremel tool. So anyway, so I'm just putting that out there as an additional option if you're thinking about it. And yeah, what I would do is I would take a large drill bit and then just kind of run it straight through those plastic steps there. And the good news is that the plastic is thick enough that it's not going to crack. And so you can just run it straight through there and it'll bore it out and just basically, you know, rip the plastic out there that's getting in your way of your cartridges going in. So you can also take the drill bits and put them kind of on their side and then just turn them on and use them to kind of smooth out edges, and that way they're not as rough. So, but anyways, once I went ahead and did this, my first one took me a lot longer because I had to come up with a good, effective method for drilling out the cartridge tray. But once I finally figured out the drill method and what to do, it took me probably about 20 to 30 minutes doing that method. I know some people can do it in a little less time with a Dremel tool, but once again, as I said, if you've got a drill but you don't have a Dremel tool, it's a worthwhile option. So anyway, I would say at this point, generally speaking, once you hit about three or four cartridges, the donor cartridges just start adding up, and then trying to source them and getting them at the best possible price can sometimes be a pain and a hassle, and finding them in good condition at that price. I mean, obviously, if you don't care if it looks like it's been through a meat grinder as long as it works, then yeah, you can go out there and still find, you know, the $2 to $3 cartridges with really ugly backings. But if not, you know, and you're looking at, you know, 5 games or more or whatever, and the cost starts adding up, and you just want to be able to just, you know, buy a bunch of these Japanese games or, you know, or US games and being able to just play both of them as is without having to swap backs or source donor cartridges, then yeah, it totally makes sense to modify your console. And that's all I've got, and thanks for watching.